and welcome to the Comic Schtick Podcast, the podcast where comics are my shtick. My name is Blake Wild. You may also know me as Smokey's Videos on YouTube or any other social media platform you see my videos on. I see them a lot on weird Russian knockoff YouTube websites when I'm Googling myself. So maybe you're listening or watching this video on one of those. What is hello in Russian? I'll just do what Flash does. Dostoevsky. Wow, I'm already off the rails this week. This episode 11, I am going to be talking about. It's a lot of movie stuff. It seems a lot of movie related news. A couple of maybe like one comic book related item. And I have two, I guess, if you count my big topic of the week, top 5 villains. But yeah, it's a lot of movie stuff, as you can see from the time codes in the description below. But before I get started in this episode, let me just advertise this real quick. Destructo Boy, the Era of Alpha Cardinal Part 1 of 2 is on sale on Etsy.com/shop/Blake T. Wild. Link in the description below. Destructo Boy is an exciting sci-fi romp following this little robot calling himself, or well, he's named Destructo Boy. He works tirelessly to protect his home of Zephyrus Colonial Space Station, a giant multi-ring space station far off in space in the far-flung future. But when the evil Alpha Cardinal of a long-lost cult makes his presence known and wants to take over the station, only Destructo Boy can put a stop to his evil machinations. This is, fully completed comic book. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen me show this off multiple times before. It is on sale now for $9.99 for the physical copy. Physical copies do include a free sketch of any character of your choosing. Just, write down what character it is, what they're from, and I will draw it and include it in here, along with a quick signature as well in the book. Digital copies, if you don't feel like buying physical, is $5. $5 for a PDF, or $9.99 plus shipping and handling for this bad boy and a handy-dandy little head sketch. It's going fast, so pick them up while you can. I don't know how many of these I'm going to be printing. I only did 100, and it's going by pretty quickly. So you check that out. Etsy.com/shop/Blake T. Wild. I'm currently working on another comic-related indie project for, I got hired to illustrate it and color it and ink it and letter it and do everything, basically, in terms of the art. So I don't know when issue 2 is going to be released, probably within the next couple months. But right now I am focusing on finishing this project and getting paid. But check out Destructo Boy. Make sure you got your copy for when issue 2 comes out. This is going to be a 5-issue little mini-series. The first 2 issues are the Era of Alpha Cardinal Part 1 and 2, and the 3rd and 4th issues, here's a little sneak peek, is called The Eclipse of Googleplex. Ooh, what could that mean? Stay tuned and find out. Etsy.com/shop/Blake T. Wild. Make sure you capitalize the B, T, and W. Now, starting this week off, I feel like I have to mention the passing of Neal Adams. Unfortunately, he passed away, and I believe he was about 80 years old. Let me fact check that real quick before I continue. Well, it doesn't show me the age. And I don't want to do math. 81. He was 81 years old. It's a pretty goddamn good life. It's very saddening to, see. I was shocked when I read that. I was at work, and I was just flipping through my phone, and I saw the article come up. Somebody shared it online somewhere, and I audibly said, "Oh my God!" Thank God nobody was around to, see my shock and dismay at this man I've only ever met once. Because that would have been a little awkward to explain, I guess. I don't know. It's more or less just me not feeling the need to interact with people, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But it's a shame. It's he was 80 years old. He was 81 years old. He has had such a huge influence on the comic industry, and his legacy will live on forever. Just everything he's done, from Batman to Mr. T and the T-Force. I really wish I thought of taking out my copy of Mr. T and the T-Force, the one that I had him autograph a couple years ago, and I am so mad at myself for freezing up and being starstruck when I met him and not being able to ask him any questions about making that, because that was I regret that ever since I didn't do it, and now I'll never be able to ask him what it was like to work on a Mr. T and the T-Force comic, because I haven't seen anybody else do it in any of the other interviews, but it's just it's very sad. I was very upset when I saw that. Rest easy, Neal Adams. I've been following him online for several years now, and if you've been doing that also, then you can tell that he was starting to his health was starting to become troublesome for him. I thought he was actually going to pass a year or two ago. It seemed like he was, but thankfully he recovered and was able to, continue on for a little longer. But I don't know. God bless you, Neal Adams. Thank you for all your work. Thank you for what you did for comic creator rights. You are a legend. And that's all I have to say about that, I guess. Moving on to some pop culture related news. And that is that I saw The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. It is fucking incredible. It is my favorite movie of 2022. I don't know if anything's gonna beat it. I doubt like any of the Marvel stuff is gonna beat it, just because of how inventive and original Massive Talent is. I was laughing the whole way through. It's been so long since I saw a good comedy film in a theater where everyone in the theater was laughing the whole way through. It was just a raucous laughter. Like every scene, there are just so many great jokes, such great witty dialogue. There's a lot of meta humor. I'm just going to spoil this, spoiler speak it. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It is well worth watching. If you're comfortable enough going to theaters, if you're able to go to theaters, definitely do that, because it was a pretty fun experience with audiences. It is a wonderful film. I love it. I've always loved Nic Cage. I've never, been one of those people who's like, oh, Nic Cage is terrible. He's a terrible actor. What is he? He's always doing that dumb face and that dumb voice and this and that. It made me love him even more. Pedro Pascal is hilarious and just adorable as this super Nicolas Cage fan. He's like me when I met Neal Adams. he shrivels down. He gets really quiet and nervous. But yeah, some of the meta jokes in this fucking movie. My favorite is during the film, Pedro Pascal's character and Nicolas Cage, they think that one another is against them, so they're gonna have to kill each other. Pedro Pascal's character is part of a cartel. Nicolas Cage has been forcibly hired by the CIA, or employed, I should say, to assassinate Pedro Pascal. So the CIA orders Nick to kill him, and Pedro Pascal's brother or cousin orders him to kill Nic Cage. So they meet up, and it's this real tension-building scene where they're walking from opposite sides of the screen. Through the whole movie, Pedro Pascal has this screenplay, or this script that he wants Nic Cage to star in, and eventually Nic Cage is like, oh, what if we work on a new movie together, as a ploy for him to stay there longer to help the CIA or something. But the best line is when Pedro Pascal meets Nic Cage in their meetup, and he goes, hey, Nick, what do you say we head down to the cliffs and talk over the third act? Right as the third act is beginning. It's it's such a great gag. And another one is Nicolas Cage's daughter gets kidnapped by the bad guy, and so they have to rescue her, and the person he's with, she says that we only have 15 minutes left until the kidnapped people get executed, and I didn't time it. I really want to watch it again and time it, but it sure as shit feels like there's only 15 minutes left of the movie. What else was there? Oh, there's a great scene. It's in the trailers. It's where Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal are high on LSD and they're sitting on stairs and awkwardly laughing. They're talking about making their movie, and Pedro Pascal is like, I want it to be an adult drama comedy film, like, you know, a serious adult movie, but it's a comedy. But, you know, I don't like comedies where people just sort of sit around and it's two characters just sitting in the scene talking to each other, you know, as these two characters are sitting there talking to each other. And he continues and he says, I don't like that, because then it always gets interrupted by some sort of plot pushing the movie forward. And then immediately after he says that, Nicolas Cage gets a text from the CIA telling him to move forward in his quest to get evidence against Pedro Pascal's character. It's just, there's a lot of great little stuff like that. It's so great. It's such an incredible film. Perfectly written. There's so many crazy scenes. There's this whole thing about Paddington 2 where Pedro Pascal's character's name's Javi. So Javi and Nick start bonding and they realize how much they have in common. They both like the same movies and like they're going over their top like 3 or 5 favorite movies. And Pedro Pascal's like, or Nicolas Cage asks Javi what his 3rd favorite movie is. And Javi's like, oh no, you're gonna laugh. No, it's nothing. And it's Paddington 2. And Nic Cage, you know, you can find this clip online. It's amazing. He like is just shocked. He's like, oh, well, you got Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Paddington 2. What's the correlation there? And Javi makes the case that Paddington 2 is an incredible film and it changed him and it made him want to be a better man. And then it smash cuts to them watching the movie and they're both just crying and bawling. And Nicolas Cage is like, Paddington 2 is incredible. And it is such a fucking fantastic comedy movie. It's a fantastic movie in general. Neil Patrick Harris is in it. For some reason, he plays Nic Cage's agent. It's a great cast. All the characters are great. Even, like, you know, the side characters, they're all amazing. And it made my girlfriend and I go and watch both Paddington films. So, I've never seen any of the Paddington films. She's only seen the first one. But, you know, I'm familiar with the gist. It's a little bear who lives in London or something. And people love these movies because they say that they're just great. There's the whole meme. There's that guy on Twitter who photoshops Paddington into a different movie every day. Go follow them on Twitter. As soon as we got out of the theater, we both looked at each other and we were like, I really want to watch Paddington 2 now. So we watched Paddington 2 and Paddington. I definitely prefer Paddington 2. This is now a Paddington duology review. Paddington 1 is a good movie. It's really fun. The characters are great. I didn't really care for the villain. I forgot about her, like, immediately after finishing the film. Like, we were watching Paddington 2 already, and I could not for the life of me remember who the fuck the villain was for the first film. It's like some taxidermist or whatever. But goddamn are those good films. Especially the second one. I was crying so many times during the second film. I cry a lot when I watch movies. I get very emotional when I'm watching movies. Fuck, I started tearing up during Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. If you've seen it, I started tearing up when Javi and Nic Cage are like hanging out in the Jeep and just talking and like swapping shoes, and like they love each other so much that it's such like a bromance. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. They're so happy. And so I started tearing up then, but oh my god, watching Paddington 2, I was like Nic Cage at the end of in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I was just crying at the end. And even my girlfriend, who, you know, she doesn't get that emotional during films. She sort of just looks at me and like rolls her eyes whenever I'm crying, or she's like pats me on the back and it's like, it's okay. Even she started crying at the end of Paddington 2 because it's such a sweet ending. His old aunt gets to visit London before she dies or whatever, and it's so nice. It's such a heartwarming movie. They're so good. Just keep making Paddington films. I got choked up saying that. just keep making more Paddington movies. There's a third one that's apparently supposed to be, I think they're filming it later this year, so I'm definitely excited to see that. I'm mad at myself for not watching Paddington sooner. I was just like, oh, it's like a kid's movie or something based on an old book about a little bear who likes orange marmalade or something. It's all right. I'm not gonna bother, but I'm so happy that I watched those movies. They're so incredible. If I ever have kids, I really want to watch Paddington with both of them, or I want to watch both Paddingtons with them. I guess 3 of them, since they're making a third one. I'm gonna force my kids to watch Paddington. But goddamn, 3 movies you gotta check out: Paddington, Paddington 2, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Oh man, all 3 are incredible films, and all of them have such great humor. Especially Paddington 2, they really up the humor and the antics in that one, and there's a reason it has 99, almost 100%. So on to another thing I watched over the weekend, and that is the Mystery Incorporated pilot episode. So this is interesting. So, for anyone unaware of what this is, about 2-3 years ago, there was a Kickstarter, Indiegogo thing for this fan film, or this fan project, which was essentially Riverdale-ing Scooby-Doo. Riverdale-ing, of course, by that I mean turning Scooby-Doo into a darker, sort of teen or adult themed show, or retelling adaptation. Something like Supernatural almost, but with Scooby-Doo. And then obviously COVID happened, and they had to keep pushing it back, and so they finally released the first episode of it just this past week, I believe. And I don't know any of the actors or anything like that. It looks like it's not shitty or anything. It's not like those fucking Star Wars fan films from 2007. It looks like a TV show. It looks like a CW show. But unlike these CW shows such as Riverdale, I actually enjoyed this. I had a great time with it. I really liked it. It was fun. The recreation of the characters were interesting. It was fun little dialogue. I love that the actors playing the kids, or playing the gang, are so clearly out of high school, even though, well, everyone. That's one of my favorite things, is that all the actors are clearly not high school age, but that just adds to it. That adds just that meta little element to the whole thing. So yeah, it's the gang. They live in Coolsville. They're in high school. Spoiler alert, the episode opens up with Fred's parents being murdered by this intruder who is all actually a demon. So yeah. And it progressively, they haven't met up yet as a gang in this episode. So far only Fred and Velma have met up, because I think Velma's father died under similar circumstances. When he died, she also saw this red-eyed terrible demon that Fred saw. So they both have that going for them, and they decide to investigate each other, or they both decide to investigate with one another about what happened to their parents and what the fuck is going on with this demon thing that people have been seeing. Velma obviously thinks there's a scientific answer, that it's a hallucination or something, blah blah blah. Daphne she's just being popular girl in school. She, sort of being forced to by her mother, her overbearing mother. And Shaggy, I don't know if he's called Shaggy yet. I think he is. I think he's trying to start that as his nickname. He's with Scooby, who is a Great Dane who doesn't talk, but he's a very cute dog with giant testicles. He is under the thumb of these shitty jocks who force him to buy drugs for them and shit, and he hates his life and whatever. And yeah, the main storyline really comes from Velma and Fred researching the occult, because they do the whole Velma's mother owns an occult bookstore, blah blah blah, so she has access to all this stuff. And the plot ends with this episode with a sort of like Evil Dead-esque reading of a book that unveils and releases this evil energy and presence and demonic forces. It's sort of like the 13 Ghosts. Like, it's sort of a reference to that old Scooby-Doo film, because they call it the 13 Pillars. Like, the 13 Pillars have been broken, and now evil shall be unleashed. And the first ghost that they interact with is Miner 49er, who is a literal fucking ghost monster from this evil other netherworld that is, like, let free once Velma reads from the book, because it's supposed to be, like, it's like a scout or something for the other demons or whatever. The makeup on the Miner 49er looks fucking great. It looks like a Deadite from Evil Dead. So, you know, they run into that. Velma and Fred primarily put a stop to it and, you know, trap it or whatever and stop it from wreaking havoc on this giant party that all the kids are at. And then the episode ends with... The episode ends there. They still haven't met up yet. Fred and Velma are like, what the fuck is happening? Shaggy saw the weird shit go down. The Hex Girls are there, too. I almost forgot about the fucking Hex Girls. And they're pretty badass. You know, obviously, because they're the Hex Girls. And they're going to put a spell on you. So, like, Shaggy puts together this party or something. It's not really well explained, this aspect of it, I'll be honest. But he puts together this party. He hires the Hex Girls to play it. And then after all this shit goes down with the Miner 49er and everybody runs away from the party, Shaggy goes back to get his stuff. And he finds the Hex Girls summoning the Miner 49er and, like, breaking him apart and collecting the energy for each other. Like, each one of them, because there's 3 of them, each one of them gets energy of, like, this evil demon presence or something. And they're like, oh, Mother Gaia or whatever. Not Mother Gaia, that's Mother Earth. Like, Mother Witch, whatever her name is, will be pleased that we've done so-and-so. And Shaggy's like, zoinks! And then runs away. And then the teaser at the very end of the episode is that the Black Knight has now shown up. And the Black Knight is seemingly one of those ghosts that they'll have to put a stop to. The Kickstarter Indiegogo is up for episode 2, and they're gonna meet their mark. So look forward to that if you enjoyed this first one. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. It's pretty fun. Like I said, it's Riverdale Supernatural meets Scooby-Doo. But I feel it works a lot better. Those fucking birds, I hate them so much. I feel it works a lot better than Riverdale did, or I never watched Supernatural. I don't know. I barely watch Riverdale. I watched a couple episodes of that. But, so my main thing here, you know, it's Riverdale. It's the same premise as this. It's taking a beloved, like, cartoony, kids-related material and making it adult. Making it dark, making it spooky. But Scooby-Doo just works much better Scooby-Doo works much better in adapting it to this, like, darker, more mystical, you know, retelling than fucking Archie. Like, Archie, what I've said this for a while, what I don't know if I've ever talked about on the channel, what they should have done is make it a, like, out of time, anachronistic world where it's like Leave It to Beaver meets Degrassi meets Supernatural every now and then, because Archie comics did have some weird shit, but, like, it wasn't the prime thing. They shouldn't have done Twin Peaks but with Archie characters, which is what they ended up doing. They should have just, you know, kept it wacky and, like, sort of ridiculous and weird just from the beginning. Like, have it be this weird town and world where people, like, go to malt shops and, like, drive 50s cars and wear Letterman jackets, but they have cell phones and tablets and computers, and Veronica is on Tinder or whatever. You know, stuff like that. Just make it so unlike the real world that it makes this, like, sort of almost mystical element to it. This otherworldly, you know, ability. But no, they didn't really do that. They don't do that here with Scooby-Doo either. But again, like I said, I feel like that Scooby-Doo works much more well with an adaptation such as this. Yeah, I'd recommend it. I recommend you go checking it out. It's fun. It's like an hour, maybe, like 40, 50-minute long episode. So that's pretty. It's surprising for like a fan project like this. But I guess it's a pilot episode. Pilot episodes tend to be longer, so they wanted to do that. It's definitely worth a watch. At least skim through it or something. Check it out. It's definitely worth checking out. Now moving on to some comic related news. Frank Miller. I feel like I personally am responsible for this news breaking. In no way other than than just releasing my video on Frank Miller's Batman and spreading his influence throughout the universe in some sort of chaos magic adjacent way, because I also feel like I might be responsible for Neal Adams' death, because coincidentally enough, after discussing Neal Adams and Frank Miller in my video that I released about a week ago, the news about Neal Adams came out, and the news about, more news I guess, about Frank Miller's new publication company came out. So Frank Miller will be opening up and starting a comic book publisher. I think Dan DiDio is also going to be working alongside him, or like as editor-in-chief or something. So, hey, Frank, Dan, I got plenty of ideas if you want to publish them. I got a lot of stuff going on up here. What am I talking about? So, yeah, it's called Frank Miller Presents, and... Okay, let me say what he's going to be releasing first. So far, they've announced, I guess it's a continuation of Ronin. Frank Miller's... It's Samurai Jack long before Samurai Jack. It's this ninja who goes to the future. He's a Ronin, rather. Not a ninja. He goes to the future, and yeah, he gets into adventures there. I guess it's going to be a continuation of Ronin. I'm not too sure. I didn't see a whole lot of info about it. But the other one is Sin City, 1858, I think they're calling it. It's Sin City as a Western, which Frank Miller has been talking about a lot in the past years. I heard him talk about that a lot while I was doing research for video, like examples to use in my episode 100 of What Is, the Frank Miller analysis. There were a lot of like the interviews that I saw from a couple of years ago. He's been talking about that. The interviews brought it up, and he's like, "Oh, you'll have to wait and see." But yeah, now it's officially announced. It's going to be a Sin City prequel. So that's cool. I don't remember what the last Sin City story was that he released. So I am looking forward to, being around for when a new Sin City gets released and picking that up. Now, you may be asking yourself, Blake, publishing takes a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of pies to pie around. It's a lot of money to open a publishing place. It's a lot of money to publish. How is he doing it? Well, Frank Miller Presents, which is what it's called again, is financed with the NFT group called Spice DAO. Spice DAO is apparently a group of about 100 or so people who have come together. You may remember their name from a couple months ago, maybe sometime last year. They crowdfunded to buy it's called the Bible of Dune, or the Dune Bible, from Jodorowsky's Dune, which was, the unmade Dune film from the 70s, I think. 70s, 80s. They all came together and forked over all the money to make that, or to buy that. I don't know how they do ownership. I don't know if it's like every other week somebody gets it. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they have like I doubt they have a physical location where they meet up. So yeah, Spice DAO, a bunch of NFT guys, they apparently are financing this, and they're going to be selling NFTs and shit, and like Also, Rob Liefeld is doing more NFT shit, too. I was going to include this someplace else, but I figured I may as well just talk about it here. Rob Liefeld is doing NFTs or whatever now, also. I think he did some before, about, like, for the Image 30th anniversary, he's doing, like, all of his character NFTs, or who gives a shit. Let's see, what do I have here? Frank Miller Presents, here's a quote from an article, I think Bleeding Cool News. Frank Miller Presents was seeking up to $1 million to finance a 5-year plan to publish new and existing IP in print and digital formats. Spice DAO will advance between $250,000 to $1 million of future NFT sales. God damn. I don't know if I've ever talked about NFTs. I don't give a shit about them. It's ridiculous. It really adds to my beliefs that we are in the speculator market 2.0. It's fucking holographic covers. It's the fold-out covers. It's Rub the Blood covers, which, if you're unaware, was something that Rob Liefeld did on some of his comics, where it was, I don't remember what it was specifically. It might have been Youngblood. They were like, if there's blood on the sword or something of, what's the main guy's name? I don't remember. There's like blood on the sword, and if you rub the blood, it's like heat activated. And if you rub the space where it says rub the blood, then the blood will like appear on the paper. Oh my gosh, we're gonna sell billions. It's just this shit again. Fucking, hey, here's a surprise. Todd McFarlane is also in the NFT game. The real surprise, though, because obviously Todd is, obviously Rob is, because they were around during the gimmicks of the 90s. The big surprise about the McFarlane thing is, if you're unaware, is that he is collaborating with Steve Aoki, the musician DJ guy, to make Spawn Steve Aoki themed NFTs. The one that I've only seen is like, it's like the Steve Aoki, no, it's like Spawn's face with Steve Aoki's hair or something. It's so fucking dumb. It is ridiculous. I don't know how this is gonna work out for them. I've been told by a couple people that I should get into the NFT market. I should sell my art on there. I should make art for people specifically as NFTs, but my conscience just doesn't allow it. I can't. I've read about what it does to the environment and like the process of running all this shit and whatever stupid other stuff, and I don't care, because like this one guy came in and he saw me drawing when I was out one day. I think I was working on Destructo Boy, and I was out and about, so I brought my sketchbook with me, and I was just sitting down somewhere. I think we went out to like, I don't know, I think we went to like Starbucks or something. And it's this guy I know from the gym I go to. I've seen him before. He's seen me before. I draw at the gym sometimes when I'm just sitting there waiting around. But he's like, yeah, man, hey, you should get into the NFT market, man. You can make some serious bucks. I make so much money each month just selling NFTs. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll look into it. And I can't. I feel so bad about what it's doing, and like, I don't believe in it enough to, sell myself downward to create NFTs. I would rather create something that, I'd rather create smaller things that get me that less amount of money. I don't know where I'm going with this. I would rather create what I'm doing now than do NFTs. Because, like I said, I don't believe in them. I don't understand them. I don't like them. They're dumb. It's just a picture. It's not even a... You get a URL or something? What the fuck? What happens if you don't have internet service? Then, your museum's gone. It's ridiculous. There's nothing to like lock it behind anything, because there's NFT heists where people just right-click, save image, or just drag and drop the image to their desktop and save the picture there. Like, what's the point? Who gives a shit? It's just a fear of missing out exchange. It is, look at this fancy little thing you can own. Don't you want to own it? The market says you should own it, so why don't you own it? I don't like them. So I hope that Frank Miller Presents does well. It would be cool to see, independent stuff coming out of there from artists that aren't related to Frank Miller. The one thing I am hoping to come out from this is Frank Miller collaborating with Rafael Grampa, who I assume that's how you pronounce his last name, who they worked together on Dark Knight Golden Child, the most recent addition to the Dark Knight universe, which I loved. I love Rafael Grampa's art. I really dig his style. I think it's fantastic, and that's like my favorite part of that book is just his way he draws everything. He does an amazing Darkseid. So I would like to see more from him and Frank Miller. Maybe Miller will get Jeff Darrow to come back and do something. I don't know. So far, like I said, they've only announced the Sin City and Ronin continuations, I guess. So it's up to the test of time and NFTs to see where this goes. Let's hope the NFT market doesn't crash. Okay, moving on. Speaking of crashing, got some news out of the CW and Warner Brothers in general. So here's a little CW Warner Brothers sandwich I made up for you. CW canceled Batwoman. Warner Brothers canceled the Wonder Twins movie. And CW, as that last little bit of bread for the bun, canceled Legends of Tomorrow after 7 seasons. 7 seasons, that's a great run. That's good television. That's a great way to end. I don't know, I feel like that's enough. That's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended after 7 seasons. So I feel like that's more than enough time to have a show running for. I've never seen any of. I've seen a couple episodes here and there of Legends of Tomorrow. I've seen the one where Gorilla Grodd tries to kill Obama in the past or something when he's still in college. I've seen that episode. I've seen a couple others, but it's never something I watched a lot, since mainly it was on the CW and I just don't care. But I have heard that it is the best CW show. So I kind of think that, I don't know, because are they still making, they're not making Supergirl, that ended. They're making, I think they're still making Flash, although it might be on its last legs. So I feel like this is Warner Brothers Discovery sort of cleaning house. Especially with the Wonder Twins as well. That isn't even started production. That was supposed to start in the next couple months. And Batwoman, I feel like with the poor reviews that both of those seasons received, I never watched either of them. I did that video last year, I think, before season 2 started, titled The Worst Batwoman Ever, which was obviously clickbait because I just talked about the old Batgirl test pilot from the 60s. I never got around to watching it. I never bothered to, but I feel with the poor ratings and reception of Batwoman, which is unfortunate because Kate Kane, Kate? Is that right? Kate Kane? Yeah. She's a really cool character in the comics, but Ruby Rose? Fuck, I don't know any names. Ruby Rose is just a terrible actor. She's pitiful. I don't know how the second woman worked out, but, she's not the main, she's not the traditional Batwoman. She's not the short-haired woman who puts on a long red wig. That's something I love about Batwoman, is just the striking visual. I guess it's just Batman Beyond, now that I think about it. That red and black, but just the sharp red hair coming out of the back, it fucking stands out. And I really like that design, but that has nothing to do with this. That's just a tangent I'm getting on. Anyway, let me try this for a third time. The poor reception of Batwoman and the upcoming release of Leslie Grace's Batgirl, which is a film, I think, on HBO Max, I feel like this was like, Discovery, Warner Brothers being like, okay, obviously one of these is gonna do better than the other, so let's just get this out of here. And so nobody will talk about this, nobody has to think about it when Batgirl comes out. Nobody gets questions about it. It's just Batgirl and how much everybody loves it. I'm very excited about Batgirl. But that is what I feel like is the reasoning behind Batwoman getting canceled, possibly. That, they're just cleaning house and getting ready for their new phase. Wonder Twins, I guess the same thing. What the fuck are you gonna do with a Wonder Twins movie? Legends of Tomorrow, again, I feel like that was more cleaning house than anything. Maybe they just saw diminishing returns with that in terms of viewership and ratings, I guess. And, maybe like the budget was starting to outweigh how much they actually got from the show, because they do a lot of crazy stuff in there. So yeah, that is my Warner Brothers CW news for the most part. Moving on to the DC Round Robin. I was hoping that a winner would be announced by now, but it hasn't. So it is, if you haven't been keeping up with DC's Round Robin bracket vote, the thing where they ask creators, hey, what's your cool idea that you have for a DC comic? Cool. No, we're not going to publish it. We're going to put it in a gladiatorial-esque match where the readers and the people on Twitter get to vote on what gets made. Meanwhile, they're making that Batman and FaZe gaming group crossover, but I won't talk about that. I was hoping it would be over by now, but it is now down to the final two, and that is Suicide Squad Dark, the one I've been championing for and hoping wins just because it sounds fucking ridiculous and I want to see it, versus Superboy. I don't care. I don't care about Superboy. But yeah, so I really hope Suicide Squad Dark wins, but I guess we'll see. Alright, on to some, back to movie-related stuff. CinemaCon. I've never heard of this before. I don't know if this is a thing they just started this year or what. I've never heard of CinemaCon in my life. There's like a lot of announcements for a bunch of movies. The first being Avatar 2, Way of the Water. James Cameron, obviously. Avatar, the sequel to the 2008 film, I think? Avatar. It's been in progress ever since then. Goddamn, by the time that I think the main actor tweeted like he was in his like 20s or like late 20s, early 30s when the first one came out, and by the time the fifth one's going to come out, he's going to be like in his 40s or early 50s or something along those lines. Who gives a shit about Avatar? Not this guy, who's got two thumbs and a blue tail that he uses to fuck other cat people. This guy. Also, I don't care about Avatar. I've only ever seen Avatar once, and that was the year it came out. I did not go to the theaters to see it. I've talked about it before. I didn't go and see a lot of movies back then. I got it for Christmas as a gift because my family knows I like movies. I like James Cameron. I got it as a gift. I watched it Christmas Day, like later, after everything was open, after the festivities were over. And I fell asleep during it. And I never bothered to watch it again. So I could not give any less of a shit about Avatar Way of the Water than I do already. Batman 2, The Batman 2 has been officially announced. We all knew it was coming, we were just waiting for the official announcement. There was a bunch of Warner Brothers films that were announced alongside Batman 2. The Batman 2, actually. Let me correct myself. That is Blue Beetle, which has a current release date of August 18th, 2023. Here we go. The Meg 2, which has a release of August 4th, 2023. Obviously, The Meg is the Jason Statham giant shark movie. I went out in theaters and saw the first one and reviewed it on my old YouTube series At the Movies. with Smokey or something like that. Smokey at the movies with Smokey. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've done movie reviews like that. It just got to the point where I wasn't enjoying watching movies because I would like have to like sneak my phone up out of my pocket and like, you know, take notes about stuff that I wanted to talk about in it. But yeah, so go check that out of my review for The Meg. If you want to know my thoughts on the first movie, it is a ridiculous premise with it has Rainn Wilson in it. Jason Statham. It's a dumb movie, but it was a fun time. Barbie, starring Margot Robbie, is July 21st, 2023. And Lord of the Rings, War of Rohirrim has been announced, I guess. I don't know what this is. I feel like not a lot of people also either know what this is. It sort of came out of nowhere, I guess. Because a lot of people I saw talking about this list was like, what the fuck? They're making a Lord of the Rings spin-off movie? What the hell? So yeah, I don't know what that's about. I never read Lord of the Rings. I watched the movies. I don't know if the War of Rohirrim is a thing that they discussed or what, but it's interesting. And moving on to some Marvel-related stuff. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, and the Marvels have changed places, to get a Futurama reference in there. They have swapped their release dates. Now Quantumania is coming out in February, and the Marvels in July. February and January, for the most part, the beginning of the year, that's usually where they put movies that they realize aren't going to do any good, or they think aren't going to do well. That's why they put Deadpool out, the first one, in those months. But ever since COVID and the pandemic and the shutdowns, that fucked over everything. So now we don't know when bad movies are going to be coming out. And I highly doubt that this is going to be a bad movie. I'm really excited for Quantumania. I can't wait to see Kang. I think Bill Murray's in this one, maybe. And The Marvels. The Marvels is going to be Brie Larson. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. I believe she's going to be in it, probably, since she's Photon. And Kamala Khan, since she's Miss Marvel. So they're all going to be in that movie together. That's going to be really cool. Comes out in July, so, you know, they want a summer blockbuster, and that sounds about right. Sounds about right. Sounds like a fun movie. Continuing with my Marvel stuff. Jon Watts has left the Fantastic Four. He will no longer be directing it. Jon Watts was the director of such hit films as Clown. And, in the Spider-Man trilogy, he did those two. He did the MCU Spider-Man, but whatever. If you haven't seen Clown, check it out. It's a movie about a realtor who discovers, in this house he's trying to sell, he discovers this old antique clown outfit. It's like, you know, it's the relationship where, like, the father and the son have a strained relationship because of work or whatever. And he's late to his kid's party because he's trying to sell this house. And so he's like, oh, fuck. I'll make it up to him by dressing as a clown. So he puts on this old clown outfit. Everything's perfect. Everybody loves it. He's having a great time. He and his son are bonding. He's like his little kid's son. And then the next day, he can't take it off. The wig is stuck to his head. The nose is stuck. The suit won't come off. It doesn't have a zipper anymore. And the shoes won't be off his feet. And the film, now that I think about it, it's The Fly, but with a clown. Because as the film progresses, the father turns more and more into this horrific clown monster. Like, the hair starts morphing into his head and becoming his hair. His nose becomes this disgusting, bulbous, like, pussy, like, bumpy red nose. Fangs start appearing in place of teeth. And he just becomes this monster of a clown. And, spoiler alert, the son has to kill him. It's a good movie. From the director of Spider-Man. But yeah, so he has left the Fantastic Four. I'm okay with this. if they were to get another Marvel director, I feel like Peyton Reed would do a good job. Peyton Reed is doing the Ant-Man films. He did all 3 of them, right? Yeah, he did all 3 Ant-Man films. I feel like he would be a good choice for Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's not. I don't really feel like it's a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of John Watts was in. I think the filming was good, I guess. Yeah, the direction was great. But like, I don't know in terms of like the story and whatever. I don't know how much John Watts had say in that. So as long as they can get a good story for the Fantastic Four, I'm fine with whoever. Get M. Night Shyamalan. Get fucking Nic Cage to do it on his off time or whatever. I don't know. Get anybody. More Marvel stuff. This is possible spoilers for Multiverse of Madness, which is coming out later this week. Actually, it's coming out the day this episode comes out. No spoilers, please, because I'm not talking about it. I won't be talking about it next week either, because, I'm going to be out of town from Friday until next Tuesday, so I won't be able to record. I will be seeing Multiverse of Madness sometime during those days, but yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be able to see it. Unfortunately, it's not opening day. So anyway, Multiverse of Madness, I saw like a couple people online talking about Deadpool. There is a rumor going around that it's allegedly something along the lines of like an advertisement for a theater chain who is doing this like behind the scenes Multiverse of Madness thing, and Deadpool appears in it. Like, it's not like clips from Deadpool that they just comped in. It's like original stuff from Deadpool. So, who knows? Maybe, I feel like if Deadpool is going to be in this movie, it's going to be, after credit scene or something. It's going to be Deadpool. He's going to be messing around. He's going to be in Doctor Strange's kitchen. He's going to show up and he's like, oh, hey. He's going to be like making breakfast or whatever in his bathrobe. He's like, oh, hey, didn't catch you there. How did I get here? I don't know. He's going to pick up an egg. He's going to be like, ooh, I'm going to break this egg. This egg is the multiverse. This egg is your Marvel movies. And then he smashes it or cracks it into like a pan and just woofs it. This is your Marvel movies on the multiverse. Like that old, this is your brain on drugs. This egg is me mixing up with all the other eggs of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because I'm here now, and I'm a dirty little omelet. It's going to be something like that, I'd imagine. It's not going to be anything big or crazy. He's not going to appear in the film itself. I highly doubt that. So yeah, Multiverse of Madness maybe has Deadpool appearing in it. Oh, that'd be cool. More Guardians, or more Marvel stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy leaks. Nothing plot related, but they... behind the scenes photos leaked of Chris Pratt and Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, in the comic accurate Dan Abnett, Andy Lanning Guardians of the Galaxy run. That like form-fitting blue jumpsuit, militaristic with like the red accents and the fire emblem of the whatever that they're called, the Ravagers, I think. Fucking finally they do this. God almighty, I've been waiting for it. That is my favorite look. Let me go grab it. Here is my Star-Lord Marvel Legends figure. This is the outfit I've been talking about. I hope to God that they do the badass fucking, I don't even know how you describe this, like futuristic World War I soldier helmet, because that is such a sweet look. And this was basically his look until that first Guardians movie where they just ruined the character. They took this badass guy who's fucking super space cop, fucking Master Chief voiced him in Avengers Assemble cartoon, or not, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon. They looked at him, they said, wow, that guy's cool. Anyway, let's make him a man-child. And they ruined him. They ruined Star-Lord's character in the comics. I'll say it. I've said it before. I hate what they did to Star-Lord, so I don't know. I hope that, with this status quo change, that means that the comic synergy status quo change will go back to that. Because I just want a Star-Lord who takes his job seriously, who can slack off and knows the times to goof around and slack off. I don't want him to be fucking Batman. Not like the good Batman, like Grant Morrison's Batman, who knows how to live a little. But, like, I don't want him to be, like, so serious and shit. But I also don't want him to be a man-child. And Dan Abnett's version was perfect. But, yeah, so the Guardians are going to be wearing their comic outfits. I imagine Rocket has his own little suit like that. He sort of wore one in Endgame. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I hope they don't only wear it once or at the very end of the film. I hope they wear it for the whole movie. It's about goddamn time. It only took them 3 fucking movies. Alright, on to Moon Knight stuff. Moon Knight Episode 5. As always, I'm a week behind. I'm going to be about 2 weeks behind the next time I talk about Moon Knight. So let me just go down this list of stuff that I have. I was very wrong about the hippo. I said that she was the avatar of... Or not the avatar. She was the that music goddess whose avatar Mark spoke to during the meeting of the gods. And that she was going to be helping him in like some sort of astral plane or something. I was sort of right there. But I never considered that he is already dead. Like I said, I thought that this was like... I thought Mark was still alive, but like slowly dying. That this was like... This is the 13 seconds before the body dies. Or whatever the line is from Massive Talent. I didn't even consider that this was like an Egyptian goddess of... like Wayfarer of the dead. And that Mark was dead. So... Yeah, I was wrong there. Jake Lockley, more references. Hashtag let Jake free. Get it trending. Hopefully it doesn't get co-opted by anything. Let's see, what else do I have here? Mark's dad during those flashbacks looks like Rick Moranis. They got the most Jewish-looking guy they could. I like that they made Mark Spector Jewish. That's cool. I hope... so if they make Mark Spector... if they make Mark Spector Jewish, then they have to make the Thing Jewish. Ben Grimm, he's Jewish. You gotta make him Jewish. Like, I really hope that they do that. I hope he's not like, ahoy, I'm the Thing, it's clobbering time. I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about like, I don't know, he makes like references here and there. Like, you know, he's Jewish, but it's not a part of his, it doesn't mean, what am I trying to say? It doesn't take up his whole character is what I'm saying for Ben Grimm, the Thing. Jack Kirby always saw him as Jewish. There's that famous drawing of Ben Grimm with the yarmulke holding the holding whatever the Jewish book is. I can't think of the name right now. So, you know, if they make Mark Spector Jewish, make the Thing Jewish too. Did anybody else? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the young actor who played young Mark. He had like a weird accent going on. He sounded like New Zealand or Maori or something like that. I don't know. It seems off compared to the other Mark, like the older Mark and the slightly less older, like late teens, early 20s Mark that we saw. Like, I don't know. It didn't even sound like his parents' accent. Like, it was something completely different. And finally, like, I love how anticlimactic this has been. Fucking Mark is completely out of the action. Goddamn, not Kevin Bacon is unleashing Amet on Earth. We see the outcomes of that when all those souls are raining down, and the hippo's like, what the hell's going on here? We see the outcomes of what is happening on Earth, and Mark is just missing all of it. I love it. I don't know why. I just love anticlimactic stories. It's just, I love them. I love how, obviously there's going to be a big fight or something in the next episode. Mark's going to break free of the spirit world or whatever. But I just love that it's a subversion of expectations that this has been. I'm really digging these last couple episodes. And goddamn, I started tearing up when Steven got left behind. Poor Steven. But that just raises the question. He's not a person. He's not a real person. He's Mark Spector's personality. And Mark Spector is still there. So, when Mark Spector gets freed, ergo, I don't know why I said that, that means that Steven is also going to be freed. Because he's not a real person. How is he died? How's Steven dead, but Mark isn't? It has to be one or the other. Like, what's going on there? He's not real. Is what I'm getting at. Like, everybody was freaking out, like, oh my god, they killed Steven, he's not going to come back, this and that. Yes, he is. He's coming back, either when Mark's still in the spirit, but fuck me, Mark is still in the spirit world, or he's going to think he's dead, and it's going to be like at the very end of the episode, it's going to be Steven and maybe Jake Lockley. Maybe Jake is like, hey, I rescued this schlub from this schmuck over here. He was crying his eyes out like a little baby. Now let me take over the body. I gotta go start my shift at the cab fare company. Like, obviously he's gonna be back. Because, like I said, they're not different people. It's one person. He's a personality. He can't die. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the ending. I can't wait to see it. I really love Moon Knight. Great episode. And, as I see my water glass is completely empty, that brings us to the final topic of this week. And that is my top 5 comic book villains. This was a topic suggested by Evan Burton on YouTube. So, I do topic suggestions. Leave them in the comments below if you got any great ideas. So, although Evan's original idea was a list of 10, but since we're already at an hour and 4-minute mark, I knew that listing 10 villains that I liked would be way too long, and it started to be a little hard. So I listed top 5 villains because I figured that was more doable. These are just... I don't know if they actually are my top 5 villains, but these are just the top 5 that I thought of just off my head. That's usually how I do these sort of lists, is like, hey, what's your top so-and-so? It's whatever I think of off the top of my head. Because, that's clearly ones that have made an impression on me enough to have that presence. But before I get started on that, I wanted to discuss something I saw, because I did Google top lists of comic book villains, just to see if I could get any other ideas on anything. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of villains that I would rank higher than some of these that I just didn't think of. But one that I saw on a lot of these lists is Galactus. Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. Galactus isn't on my list. He's not on my top 5 villain lists. He's not on my top 10 villain lists. And that's because I don't see Galactus as a villain. Like, sure, Galactus is an antagonist, but he was... Is Galactus a he? Like, obviously, I'm pretty sure Galactus always refers to itself as a man, or like himself or something, which is obvious because he was made in the 60s and he was clearly drawn as a giant man. But like, it's been retconned so much that like Galactus is just like this otherworldly force. Like, does Galactus even give a shit about gender? Does it matter to him? I highly doubt it. Is that even what Galactus looks like? Like, there's that whole thing where it's like, oh, Galactus just takes the form of whatever your brain can comprehend, like an H.P. Lovecraft creature. But whatever, I digress. Galactus as a villain. He is not a villain in my eyes. Galactus is an antagonist. Galactus is a problem that the heroes often have to deal with, unless he's dead like he is now. I think, assuming it's still dead and Thor's still using Galactus's skull as a house or whatever. Galactus is a natural part of the universe. we know this because it was retconned to say that Galactus was the last remnant of the previous universe before it ended. I don't know if they ever said how that universe ended. I think that the Marvel universe was like the Big Bang, so I assume the Marvel universe happens in concordance with the theory of the like big contraction, big expansion, big contraction theory, which is that the universe, it's like a heartbeat, I guess. It's like a lung breathing out. It expands and then it contracts, and then boom, right there is when it contracts completely, is when everything explodes, and it's the Big Bang, and it starts all over again. So maybe that's how the Marvel Universe works. Maybe it's how our universe works. Who knows? Anyway, Galactus was the last remnant of the previous universe. Galen is what they revealed his name to be when he was still immortal. I don't remember why he was chosen to be the final person, but he was. Galactus was chosen, or Galen was chosen, became Galactus when the new universe was created, as to act as like this natural part of it that ate stuff and, kept it under control or whatever. Galactus, now that I think about it, is basically a goat. People would get goats to, eat their lawn or whatever to keep the grass trimmed instead of, paying, a lawnscaping service or doing it themselves with a lawnmower. Galactus is basically a cosmic goat. But anyway, because Galactus is this natural part of existence, he has to be. Because he was chosen at the beginning of time. At the beginning of the universe, Galactus was there. So he's as much of a natural occurrence as air and space and asteroids and whatever else that's been here for millions of years. So because Galactus is that natural part of existence in the universe, it would be akin to calling him a villain is akin to calling him a villain is akin to calling the biblical flood a villain. Would you define the villain of the Bible as the flood? No. You wouldn't say that Noah fought the flood or something. You would say Noah escaped the flood and put it off and, distanced himself from it and persevered the flood. You don't fight Galactus. You persevere and get past it. It's like what Reed Richards did when Galactus was first introduced. He didn't fight Galactus. He found the ultimate nullifier and threatened to destroy reality with it. So yeah, I just wanted to say that just because those are my feelings on Galactus, how I see Galactus. And I don't know, a lot of people listed Galactus on their villain list, and I didn't see that. Tell me what you think about that. How do you think about my weird views on comic books? Let me know in the comments below. Get a bunch of comments down there. It helps my channel out, is what I'm saying. I don't know why I clapped. Now, on to my top 5 list of villains. Comic book villains. So, top 5. Number 5 is Iron Maiden. I would be shocked if anybody watching this or listening to this knows who this woman is. That's right, it's a woman. I guess you assume that since, I'm Iron Maiden, whatever. I would be shocked if anyone knows who this is. Iron Maiden is one of the villains from Tower Comics series created by Wally Wood, among other fantastic artists and writers, called The Thunder Agents. Thunder Agents is my favorite comic series ever, and I already have it planned for as a conversation topic on the podcast. I'm going to talk all about it. I love this series so much, although it does it isn't helped by the fact that the first 6 issues are all about this one dumb villain. Not Iron Maiden, it's this other one, but I'll get into that when I talk about it. Iron Maiden is from the Wally Wood series Thunder Agents, and the best way that I thought of describing her is Catwoman meets Doctor Doom. No, I don't think her real name is ever revealed in the series. There's like two or three, maybe two other Thunder Agent series from like the 80s and 90s when they tried to reboot them, and I think another more modern one, but I don't give a shit about that, so I never read any of them. The original series and its spin-offs is enough for me. It is just absolutely incredible series. I highly recommend it. Silver Age comics, those are my favorite. So, like I said, she is Catwoman meets Doctor Doom. If you look her up, she's wearing this full bodysuit of like shining platinum armor. She even has like little ears coming up off her mask, and I feel like I wouldn't do it justice describing it, but just listen to this description from femalevillains.fandom and tell me that she is not Doctor Doom meets Catwoman. Iron Maiden was the villainess in Thunder Agents, blah, blah, blah. Iron Maiden, she is this like world-renowned villain who works for the overarching villain called the Overlord, who she's tasked one issue with capturing Dynamo, who's the main character of the Thunder Agents, and he has this big belt that he wears, and for a certain amount of time, like a half hour, it gives him Superman powers, essentially. He is super strength, he's indestructible, he can do a lot of stuff. He can't fly or anything like that, unfortunately, but he just gets superpowers. But Iron Maiden captures Dynamo, and they can't get the belt off of him, or something along those lines. Or maybe they can, but they just can't figure out how to get it to work. I can't remember, it's been a while since I've read them, which is why I had to look up this Wikipedia article. But so this is like their first meeting. Let's see. He refused to tell her the secrets and proved able to resist her truth serum. Iron Maiden was at this point impressed and became infatuated by him. Dynamo reciprocated her feelings and mourned her when he thought she died after the battle with Dr. Death, but refused to be with her unless she gave up crime. Huh. The two clashed several times afterward and once framed Dynamo as a traitor to force him to join her. But she also came to his aid against other villains a number of times. Now, am I reading from a Wikipedia page about Catwoman? Or Iron Maiden? Who knows? It could be either, because that's like the exact relationship that Batman has with Catwoman. And Iron Maiden, she is like, I don't know if it's ever implied, or I can't remember. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read all the issues. I really need to go back and reread them, though, because it's such a good series. I think it's implied that she's like a royalty or like a ruler of a country, maybe, or maybe I just assume that based on her looks. Like she has this large red cloak, cape, and the armor befitting for a king or a queen leading battle. But she's just such a cool villain. She's like, she's Doctor Doom and Catwoman. She's sexy. She's this beautifully drawn character, but she also, can go toe-to-toe with Dynamo and these other characters. She knows how to, she carries herself well, I guess. She knows what she's doing. She's not incompetent like a bunch of other, female characters from that time. Watch me be completely wrong about that. And it's just me imposing my own thoughts on the comic or something, because I haven't read it in so long. Fucking no, because in the Thunder Agent series, they have little backup little backup stories called what are they? It's some other team. It's not the main team of superheroes. It's like this sort of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.-esque team of it's like Agents of Thunder, whatever. And my dog is snoring loudly. So there's this team, and it's made up of 3 guys and the girl, or maybe 4 guys and the girl, whatever. They all have different techniques and abilities. The girl's good at one thing, but she's all so ditzy. All the women in this book are very ditzy and airheaded, except for Iron Maiden. Of course she thinks the Dynamo's a fucking fine piece of ace, but she's able to control herself and get what she wants out of the situations. She defeats him multiple times. She's just a fantastic villain from a fantastic series, and I really like her. She's a great character. Moving on to number 4, and that is Ultron, the little robot man who could. Ultron is, of course, the creation of Hank Pym. He's, an AI gone rogue. My favorite Ultron story comes from West Coast Avengers. I don't remember the issue, but Ultron plays a big role in a lot of the West Coast Avengers series that I've read, or the issues that I've read. It's like 20 or 30 of them, like the first 20 or 30. But Ultron, it's a different version of Ultron. It's one that, like, I don't want to say it because I vaguely remember it, and I also don't want to give too much away because it's a fun read, and I'll probably do it one day on my channel. But Ultron is... he wants to make amends with Hank Pym, essentially. And, like, he's like, I'm not bad. That was the other Ultron. I'm a different Ultron. I'm Ultron Mark 8? 9? Can't remember which one's the good one. Like, I want to do good. I want to serve you. I want to make it up to you, Father, for all the pain and turmoil I've put you through. And I like Ultron. He's a really cool character. He's a very interesting character. The evil robot. He has a sweet fucking look, that always open mouth with, like, the evil demonic red little eyes that glow, and, like, his Kirby crackle mouth of energy. It's a sweet design that just captured my imagination since childhood. I love James Spader. Is that who voiced him in Age of Ultron? I really hope they bring Ultron back in the MCU. But in this West Coast Avengers series, I'm going to try wrapping it up because I'm almost at an hour and a half. In this West Coast Avengers series, there's just some great moments of Hank Pym and Ultron doing, like, father-son bonding, not like playing catch or shit, but like talking to each other like people. Like, not as though, like, I will defeat you, Ultron! Don't you dare try to kidnap my wife and teammates! And then Ultron's like, ha ha ha, you fell for it again, Pym! Nothing like that. They actually talk to each other and have conversations with one another. And Hank Pym, he's one of my favorite Marvel characters. He is apprehensive to this, but, like, over the course of time, Ultron starts growing on him. He's like, oh my gosh, he's actually a good robot person. And eventually it culminates with, I believe, Ultron sacrifices his robot life to save Hank Pym and the other West Coast Avengers. And it's just a really sweet story, and I love that version of Ultron. And Ultron is just always a great character because there's so many versions of him that you can basically do any kind of story. Number 3, Bizarro Superman. Yep, Bizarro Superman is in my top 5 list of villains. I love the Bizarro of the Silver Age. I don't care for any of that, like, really, like, scientifically created Bizarro or whatever. Like, I sort of get it, but the problem with that is that I'm fine if it's like, oh, we created an imperfect clone of Superman. But when they do that a lot, especially in the modern stories, it often turns into, it's not Bizarro. Like, in the way that I think of Bizarro, which is like, me am blah, 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 like that, stuff like that. It's more just, oh, it's an evil monster Superman. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's like Frankenstein, but he's dumb. It just turns into that. I prefer the Bizarro who's from a planet that's the shape of a cube, and everything is backwards there. I want to do a Bizarro story that will never get published, like most of my ideas for DC stories, because the dialogue would... If you think about it, the dialogue for the Bizarro characters would be so confusing that it would be nonsensical. Because even when you read Bizarro stories, like ones from like his first appearances to now, I guess. I don't remember what Bizarro's been up to recently. I have no idea. But he's always like, me am villain or something like that. Like, he just says opposite versions of the word. Or like rearranges words in the sentence or something. But like, that's not exactly what it would be, would it? Like, is me the opposite of I? It would be you is good hero. something like that. Or no, you is terrible villain. Crazy words, just like word soup or whatever that's called. Like if people were to do Bizarro, how it would make sense for Bizarro from his weird backwards cube world to be, it would be utter lunacy. It would be absolutely insane. And I really want a story that brings back the cube-shaped Earth, or Thara, or whatever they call it. I think it might be backwards. And, like, it's just somebody inconsequential to the main universe. Because I know that they killed off Justice League or whatever now, so you can't use them. I'll talk about that later. I still haven't read that issue. I just don't give a shit. But, like, fucking send someone to the Bizarro Earth. Fucking send Blue Beetle, I don't know, to the Bizarro Earth, where he has to deal with the Bizarro characters. And they're just speaking gibberish at him. That makes sense to them, but, obviously not to him or the readers. I love Bizarro so much. It's such an incredible concept. And there's just a lot you can do with that character, I feel. Moving on to number 2. Doctor Doom. How can you have a list of best comic book villains and not have Doctor Doom on there? Doctor Doom is, he's one of the greatest villains. Jack Kirby creation, Stan Lee written for the most part. He's incredible. I feel like I can't say anything about Doctor Doom because everybody's talked about Doctor Doom and what an incredible character he is. What an incredible villain he is. Go read Mark Waid and, what is his name? Mike Rowingo. Go read their Fantastic Four run. It's one of the best after Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four. It is incredible. It shows Doctor Doom just what kind of person he is and, the stuff he goes through. Doctor Doom, of course, my favorite part of him is that he wears the metal mask because his face was horribly scarred. But I don't know if this has ever been retconned. I'm not sure. I'm sure it has. The horrific damage done to his face, it's not like he's missing a chunk of his face or something. He gets a single scar on his cheek. And to him, that means that he is not perfect. He is destroyed, and because of that, he encases himself voluntarily in a suit of armor and goes crazy, essentially. And I just think that that's such an incredible level of pettiness and self-centered just ability that just perfectly encapsulates who Doctor Doom is. And now as we reach the hour-and-a-half mark, my top favorite comic book villain, number 1, is another Jack Kirby creation, and that is Darkseid. Obviously, it's Darkseid. Darkseid went from the despotic ruler of Apocalypse under Jack Kirby to being a multiversal constant who has avatars in every single universe. Every single appearance of Darkseid you've seen, from the Justice League cartoon, to pre-Crisis, to post-Crisis, to Zack Snyder's movie, to the fucking Super Friends. It's all been one creature calling itself Darkseid that exists outside of the multiverse. And, that's Grant Morrison doing this. That's what Grant Morrison did to Darkseid. And I just love it so much. I love Darkseid with a burning passion. Darkseid is the ultimate villain. He's the ultimate enemy. He is the evil and vitriolic and just painfully realistic hatred of humanity. Jack Kirby was able to provide this fascistic order to comics. And, he lived through the events that saw the rise and fall of Adolf Hitler. So, he had a good basis for who to make Darkseid after. Darkseid is just such a great character. He's self-centered. He's greedy at times. He only serves himself. I do not like that he has become the end-all, be-all, or whatever, of the the DC universe. I don't like that. I don't like the New 52 Darkseid. I don't like whatever they're doing in this Dark Crisis bullshit, with Darkseid making him like a puppet for this giant darkness or whatever the fuck. I don't like that because Grant Morrison already told me that Darkseid's not that. Darkseid is outside of that. This is just a little puppet. So how's that working? Unless, I assume they retconned it in some way. But I don't care. Because my DC universe, in my headcanon, it goes... more or less everything's... I adhere to the Grant Morrison school of thought, which is that it's all in continuity. But in terms of the Crisis events... the only ones that I really care about are Crisis on Infinite Earths and Final Crisis. It's the perfect way to do it. Everything would be in continuity. There was this time when there was a crisis and all these Earths got destroyed or whatever, and then everything came back. And then after that, Final Crisis happens down here after some other stuff. And, Final Crisis made Darkseid badass. And no, Jack Kirby made him badass. But Darkseid is just... I fucking love him. I love Darkseid as a character. He's so good. I love his appearances when I love his appearances when it means something. Not... Not like an ambush bug where he keeps appearing at the end of issues as cliffhangers and then only to reappear the next issue as like an inflatable doll or somebody in a costume or something like that. The places that Darkseid means something is Jack Kirby's Fourth World and Final Crisis. And, the Justice League cartoon is probably why I love Darkseid so much, and the Superman show. So yeah, I'm going to try and wrap it up here. That is my list of my top 5 comic book villains. What is your top 5 list of comic book villains? Let me know in the comments. And, let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you think of any of the news that I've been discussing for the past hour and a half. I just accidentally hit stuff. Let me, thank you for listening is what I was trying to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the amazing feedback on my Frank Miller analysis. It's at 11,000 views. That's great. Thank you so much. Anybody watching who's already watched that. If you haven't, go check it out. It's pretty good. At least I think so. Again, let me grab my book. Destructo Boy. The Era of Alpha Cardinal, Part 1 of 2, is on sale now. $9.99 plus shipping and handling. You get a free sketch of any character from any show, any property, any game, whatever. I just did Batman Beyond. I did some anime stuff a couple days ago. I'll do anything. I'll draw any head sketch character you want. I'll do commissions if you want me to draw some sex stuff. Check it out. Here's the back as well. There's Orin Aronitis. Oh, messed that up. There's Orin Aronitis, evil sort of leader of a cyborg gang. You see him in the comic a little bit. Check it out. About 24 pages, I believe, of story. Part 1 has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So check that out at etsy.com/shop/Blake T. Wild. Make sure you capitalize the B, T, N, W. And, join me next week. So next week, before I go, I won't be discussing anything like I normally do. I will be having a guest on to help me co-host because, as I said, I am leaving. I'm going out of town, and I won't be able to record an episode for next week. So next Friday, you will get a very special, very long episode, I should add. It is clocked in about 2 hours. So it's the longest episode of Comic Schtick yet. And next week, we are talking about, try this again. And next week, my guest and I are pitching ideas for Sony Marvel movies. You know the kind. Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man. We're pitching ideas for characters for Sony to make into movies. So I hope you're looking forward to that. It was a hoot to record. I had so much fun with it and coming up with these different ideas. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Smokey's Videos and make sure to follow me on Instagram at NotBlakeWild and at Smokey's Videos. Check out the description again for my link tree. All my links are on there. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So I'll see you guys next week. It's sort of a little break episode. It's pre-recorded and everything, so I won't be discussing any big news that happens. And I'll see you, I'll see you in 2 weeks, technically, for when I'll talk about Multiverse of Madness and whatever else, and Moon Knight. But next week, check that out, because that's going to be a good episode. I'll see you next time. Bye.